You're a Zoom expert now, aren't you?
I guess so.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Emily.
Good to see you, Igor and Paige.
See you, sir.
Yeah, that AI image there, that's one of my most favorite ones I've ever generated. Asking a scientist to chase for money.
Which app did you use?
I think I used Gemini for that one.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
good.
awesome.
We'll probably just wait. I mean, I'll say we'll wait a minute, but Emily, as you all know, is the boss, and she'll tell us when we can start.
I was gonna say we're recording the session, so anyone who misses the first couple minutes can just watch it later. So feel free to start when you're ready, Mike.
Okay. Okay. Um, and I see JP's here, who's also part of the program. That's great. Um,
Hi, Mike. I'm downtown DC in a little phone booth in a co-working space. Just came and visited a startup here.
awesome. Um, so this shouldn't. I mean, we'll probably get through this in maybe 20 minutes. The deck, and then if you have questions afterwards, that's great. If you go to the next slide, Emily, I should say, this program, though, Ben and us, we've always felt like this is needed because when we talk to our startups as they're ready to start their investment readiness or start raising money, especially private capital, it's a bit of mystery of what to do and how to do it and when to do it and what information they need. And so, we've had this idea, and thankfully, Department of Commerce was willing to help us fund this so that we could implement it and really kind of to demystify the fundraising process a bit and bring in people like JP and others who have been on both sides of the deal table who can help kind of help you work on sort of a map of what to do. So that's really what the program is overall. In this agenda or this presentation, we'll for those, I think we have a couple of new folks who don't know MEIA, so Ben will talk about that, our new founders fund, or relatively new. I'll get into the details about the investment readiness detail program, about our coaches. I'll talk a little bit about our criteria. We only have room for 15 startups, so in case we get over to subscribe, and of course Emily, as always, will talk about next steps and what you actually have to do to apply to the program. Uh, so go ahead there, Ben.
All right, so welcome everyone. I'm excited about this program, excited to get this thing going. Um, just a quick high level on the Maryland Energy Innovation Accelerator. So first of all, yeah, we are a program of the Maryland Clean Energy Center. Yeah, and this is for those of you that don't know us who may be watching this on YouTube. I'm trying to see if there's folks that don't. But you've probably been through this before. I know the vast majority of you on this call probably have, so I apologize for all of the, having to go through this again. But high level, we're the state and we're here to help. Our theory of change is to kind of bring the ecosystem to bear on early stage startups. We started about 6 years ago. with our phase one, or what we call our Launchpad program, where we are bringing in early stage technologies and matching that with industry experts, or what we call energy executives in residence, EIRs. We've grown to kind of service the full line of commercialization for climate tech commercialization, including earlier, we're doing a pre-accelerator program, which I think many of you have been through, as well as we're doing an ideation program as part of that, working with corporates and things like that to actually solve problems and create solutions. Expanding later stage, we will be launching later this year, hopefully, our prototyping manufacturing program, where we're bringing in prototyping resources such as engineering and design, and manufacturing resources, manufacturing designers, things like that, to support that product development phase. And then getting into our phase 3 programming, which this is a part of. The investment readiness program is part of our phase 3 programming. But more importantly, more relevant to all of this is that the Climate Technology Founders Fund exists in this phase. This is a $1 million fund that we manage as part of the state. There you go. Look at that. Thank you, Emily. So the high level of that is we make $50,000 to $100,000 check size investments that has a matching requirement. And a preference for minority, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. The idea behind it is, kind of getting to that first raise, really. So part of the goal for this fund is to be able to take lead, and kind of, we're going through the due diligence, we're going through investment committee, et cetera. And so, we want to be able to be kind of that first institutional buy-in potentially to the round. That is the goal. We're also getting there. So we've been at this point for we started about a year ago. We have our investment committee up and running. We're meeting regularly, and we are evaluating investments regularly. We made our first commitment about 2 months ago. And hope to be coming out with some more soon, and hopefully some actual financial closes soon as well. And we'll be making announcements along those lines. But that is us in a nutshell. Sorry for the speed there, but I think a lot of you already know this.
Thanks, Ben. Go to the next. Thanks, Emily. Okay, so just program overview of the investment readiness program. The program will go from this October 9th to April 29th of next year. So it is a longer program. It isn't intense. It is kind of spread out. We know everybody's working on their companies and such. So it's really made to be kind of a longer program to help you with that investment readiness, either if you're in it or about to go into that program. As I mentioned, one of the goals is to actually bring people who've either written checks or have fundraised successfully already. So part of it is to bring experiences to the table, so that people can kind of give you a lot of the tips and tricks of how to get to this. We will also do our best. We've slowly built a network of climate investors that, and we want to make sure we're going to get you engaged with those, both through some communications, and we'll also have a pitch event. I should say we're trying to limit this to 15 startups to get in this event, and I'll talk a little bit about the criteria later. Next slide, please. The workshops in the program are first we kind of work on the investor side, and then we work on the fundraising side. So the investor side is we really think it's important for you to understand how investors make money. There's a lot of startups that get frustrated that say, I'm very profitable, why am I not investable? And there's a reason for that. And so we also want to make sure that you understand that there's different types of investors, different stages, different theses, so we want to get into that. We'll also have a panel of investors, for everything from an angel to climate, um, investors that have public funding, those that are more traditional VC, more those that are more climate tech focused, just again to get a variant of what are these different investors looking at, how are they all sort of motivated, and a chance for you to ask them questions. And then we'll also get into the fundraising process. Again, we'll go over sort of a process of how you should think about, and when you should think about how do you actually go about in contacting and engaging with investors. What are sort of the tools in your toolkit you'll need? What is the process? We'll have what we call an investee panel, a panel of people who've raised money and how some of their tips and tricks of doing it. We have one in-person workshop, and this will be on forecasting. This is where we're going to get you, in a room, and someone is just going to really hammer you on kind of figuring out, what are your assumptions to get you to a better forecast. These things are, they represent kind of your vision, your understanding of the market, the understanding of your own business. And so it's important that you kind of get it as best as possible. They're never perfect, but the more there's in grind reality in your forecast, the better investors will appreciate what you're trying to do. And we'll also talk about term sheet basics. Next slide, please. Just to kind of give a sense of the people who will be, implementing the program. And one of them's here, JP. JP, did you want to talk a little bit about yourself, just to so people know who's going to be in the program?
Sure, Mike, I'm happy to do so. I'm a serial founder, 6 or 7 companies. I've lost count now. Did an IPO, have raised a bunch of money, and these days I work a lot with startups. So I probably got an active portfolio, call it 13, 14, 15 companies. 4 or 5 of them are already bankrupt and out of business. But 2 or 3 of them are doing really well. And of course, 2 or 3 of them have exited. And I help them grow. And I also run a small but active angel investment community in the Mid-Atlantic called Resilient Earth Capital, resilient-earth-capital. You can submit your business plans there. And we write checks in the 200 to 300,000 for early stage. Some of the companies, we like to see revenues already, but anything that's climate positive, and clean energy obviously fits into that. Separately, I'm launching a fund for emerging markets, and so we're quite busy, but I spend a lot of time with startups. Hope that helps, Mike.
Yep. And JP helped raise money for one of the services I used, Neighborhood Sun. I'm a happy customer to them.
Yes, customer subscriber. Neighborhood Sun is a great story. I can share a little bit about that. First angel round we did was in 2017. The rules for community solar the law had just been passed in Maryland, but the rules had not been. So it took another year. Then in 2018, we had a post-seed round. In 2019, we had a small Series A, a Series AA, we called it. 2020, we raised money on one of these portals called WeFunder. We did 2 rounds on WeFunder. 2022, we actually acquired another company with shares, and we did a convertible note. So we've done 7 rounds in 7 years, and the company's now doing quite well. It's got 7 or 8 million in revenues, and is breaking even this year for the first time. So happy days.
Great. Thanks. We also in our coaches, we have Josh Cable. For those who might not know, Josh was actually the CEO of Inventwood. He helped them raise a considerable amount of money, I think 15 million or so, of private capital, plus a number of non-dilutive grants. Inventwood is one of the only companies that were awarded the RPE scale-up grant. He helped with, he kind of led that process too. And he has a company or a consulting firm to help other companies kind of get to the status of what Inventwood had done from, UMD technology in the labs to now a 90,000 square facility in Frederick, Maryland. How do you get there? And and so Josh has that capability. How do you get the financing for such a thing? Solomon Assad, people might know. Solomon has been an EIR for us and has helped some of our startups think about their fundraising strategy. He also worked with Tedco on some of their investment funds, doing the due diligence, doing all the kind of hard work, looking at startups in the documents and making sure that it's ready for investment. So he understands the investor side also. And then Helen is, I mean, she's an incredible scaler. If if you're old enough, and I don't know if JP is this old, remembering when the telecom explosion happened in the 1990s, she was a big part of that with MCI. For those who are over 40, you might remember that company's name. Back when it was an exciting.
It used to be called the MCI Center, the sports arena downtown DC.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she was part of the big growth and how to scale that and strategize. She's incredible at sort of connecting a vision to financial realities and making sure that you kind of understand your techno analysis and such. So she's going to be helping on forecasting. Luckily, she's been doing a great job at Halcyon and has started to help us a bit. So we're kind of fortunate from that perspective. Ben and I will also come in, leveraging the networks we have on the investor side to kind of do the connections and the relationship building from that perspective. So the coaching is really two parts. One part is to, and Solomon will help a lot with this, is kind of just getting into what we call the deal room, which is just all your documents, making sure that you're ready. You have it isn't just about a pitch deck. It's about, everything that goes into the pitch deck. Do you have a good forecast? Do you have any customer commitments, LOIs, anything that can show that the customers accepted this? Do you have any, like, your governance documents? Are you, prepared this from a legal perspective before you ask for money? So he'll kind of get into the weeds a bit and making sure before you ask for money that when the investors are interested in you and they start asking hard questions like how are you incorporated, who owns your stock, those things are kind of already there, so it's easy for you to send those out. And then the second part is what we're going to have Josh and JP work on is really just your game plan on fundraising. How do you get your investor list? I mean, yes, you could look on some VC investor list and Google it, or ChatGPT, I guess now, and you'll get a couple hundred climate investors, but there's probably 20 or so that really are relevant to you. And how do you determine that? How do you reach out? How do you engage? What are the marketing and other documents to actually start building up relationships? Again, it's much more than a pitch. It's really a business development process from that regard. So that's kind of the coaching part of the program. If you go to the next slide, Emily. And then the last part is we're going to really try our, to connect you with relevant investors. Again, we've been establishing relationships with early stage climate investors. Obviously, there's investors in the state. We have JP here who has his angel fund. So we're going to help you with sort of the outreach and also have a small event at the end that'll be more intimate than like a big demo day where we're going to get you in rooms with investors. And, at the very least that we'll frame it as sort of a feedback session. And so at least we'll get some establishment and some feedback from the investor side. So that's kind of the program. Next slide, Emily. The criteria is, you need to be in climate tech. What is climate tech, you might ask? We have a pretty broad definition of it. I won't get into an academic conversation, but if you're supporting the energy transition, if you're supporting clean energy, if you're taking carbon out, if you're doing clean, you're replacing old technologies with clean technologies. We've been in agriculture, we've been in fusion technology. We're pretty broad, from that perspective. as Ben mentioned, we're part of the Maryland Clean Energy Center. We're part of the innovation economic arm. So so we're here to help the economy of Maryland. So you have to have your business based here. Again, what that means we can get into. From a business perspective, we want to see product market fit. I know, again, what is the definition of product market fit? We do want to see some customer feedback that there's an acknowledgement of what that product is, has legs in the market. And from a TRL level, if you've already proven out that you can manufacture this thing, that's great. It has to be above sort of a lab proven technology, we're hoping. So that's another sort of very specific criteria. And the last one is, we want to. This is a process and is going to take time, resources from you as a founder. So one of the biggest criteria is that you're personally ready to commit to fundraising. I'm sure JP could tell you, how much time and effort this takes. It's probably pretty close to a full-time job over an intense couple of months. And so that's a big criteria for us is, we're going to do this work and you're going to take time to learn this stuff, but it's really important for you to be ready to fundraise and put the time into it.
It always
JP,
takes longer, Mike. It always takes longer. Double the time, triple the time, and check your
Yeah.
expectations. It's like looking for a job. You have to always do something every day, to focus on fundraising.
Yeah, so there's a pace and effort to it, and probably sometimes going, hey, honey, I have to take an investor call during dinner or miss a sports game or a recital or some things like that, I'm guessing too. So Emily, we'll start answering questions after Emily talks about sort of next steps.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. Next steps is just to apply. If we haven't already kind of had an initial conversation, what we'll do is we get applications and then we look to just schedule a first conversation with new companies and kind of just assess where teams fit kind of on the programmatic wise, which we showed in the beginning. Some people might apply and we might find that you're ready for phase 1 and not phase 3. So we'll kind of get applications in and look to just set up conversations to kind of talk more about how we can best help. So first step is really just to apply, and then we'll have a conversation from there. But application deadline for this program is September 24th.
Great. So we do have one question. Maybe, Ben, I'll ask you this one. Do software-based ventures qualify? Like, do you consider that climate?
Yeah, I mean, if it's solving a problem and making an impact, absolutely. I think it's funny because we have typically done hard tech in our normal programming. That's because it provides the most value we found. Like software doesn't necessarily need to have an industry executive to be able to roll out a SaaS or anything like that. But for investment readiness, if it makes sense in terms of the stage you're at and you're really ready to invest, I think software would qualify. Absolutely.
Any other questions? Ben, do you want to answer Paige questions about the Climate Tech Founders Fund on the matching requirement?
Sorry, I'm muted. So the matching requirement is needs to be explicit. So either we are participating in an existing fundraising round. So matching exactly what the current investors are coming in at, or an investment is made with potentially a side letter or another statement that says this investment is made for the purposes of matching the Climate Technology Founders Fund. So yeah, we've had it come up before where somebody asked, but I just raised this money. Can that count as a match? Unfortunately, we cannot count um, previously raised dollars as a match. I hope that answers the
And
question.
that's private capital. It can't be grants, correct?
Right, right. Also true. Yes, it has to be investment. Yeah,
And,
on similar terms as the founders fund.
and can it be founders capital?
Yes, it can be.
Other questions? I don't see any. Uh, okay, sorry. Two more questions. Is there a cost to participate in the program? Participants are competitively selected. For a cost perspective, no, this is free. The Department of Commerce here in the state of Maryland is supporting this. So we thank them. And again, we're trying to expand the programming MEIA has, as Ben was kind of showing you in the phases, and so this is I mean, even this is phase three, not phase zero. We really want to try to help as many climate tech companies that are in the state as possible. Um, the participants, competitive is. Am I feeling? This is just my gut. Is this will be generally competitive or somewhat? I don't think this is. We have 17 people. I mean, we probably have like as far as startups, maybe even less than 15 startups on the call. My guess is we're going to get a bit over 15. So we'll probably have to scale back a little bit from that. So it's not going to be super competitive, but we're going to have to, based on the criteria I showed, you know, draw back based on and filter out some companies. That's just my gut. I think we've had about 30 people, kind of show interest.
Yeah, and I think you're right. This is really about fit. We want to help everyone that we can. If folks are a little bit earlier, let's look at supporting in some of our other programs. Um, and I think this is also something that a program that if it's slightly too early, but a good fit or you'd be raising sometime next year. I think this is not a program that's necessarily going to go away. So we I would hope that we can continue this, next fiscal year. So, 12 months from now. But, we'll see.
Any other questions? Emily, before we end, do you just want to tell everybody about the exchange since we do have a decent amount of people here for some that might not have heard of it?
So yeah, just while we have everyone here, thought definitely should mention our upcoming event. We're hosting a climate tech exchange as part of the Maryland Clean Energy Summit. Our event will be October 14th at the College Park Marriott Hotel and Conference Center. As part of this event, we do what we call our Asks and Offers session, where we bring in startups here in Maryland that do 30 to 60-second lightning elevator pitches. We follow that with our supporters and partners to kind of do an offers and share what services they provide to startup companies. So we're looking to have people join and participate in that session. So that's October 14th. And the registration link is on this slide and can happily pass along details for that if there's interest in attending.
And it says tickets on sale. What's the cost, Emily?
The cost for the Climate Tech Exchange is free, but the Greater Summit is a paid event. The Climate Tech Exchange does not grant access to the summit, but the summit, it's a great way to maybe participate and network with people at the summit. We will do a joint networking and happy hour, but the exchange is a free event as part of the summit.
Edwin, did you have another question?
Yeah, I did. And if you guys don't mind, I'll come in audio. My name is Edwin Lavanas. I'm CEO for Avanza EV. Thank you again for all this great information. I've known Ben for many years, so it's exciting to see what you guys have all created. Emily, I just had a quick question, logistically on the Climate Tech Exchange. We'd love to participate. How's it going to work if we're part of, I'm part of like a package, like I'm on some panels. I think our company's even sponsoring something. Is that totally separate? Should we just sign up for the Climate Tech Exchange? You're saying there's no cost, so does it even matter?
Yeah, if you've registered for the summit, it's kind of a joint entry for Tech Exchange and Summit. But some of the roundtables are at the same time as the exchange, so
Oh,
definitely just take a look at the schedule. But I mean, definitely register for both. But if you've registered for the summit already, the Climate Tech is a free event as part of it, so you're all set there. But definitely just look at the schedule and timing of events, and would love to have you join the Tech Exchange if it works with the schedule of the summit.
yeah, we'll probably divide and conquer. We haven't registered yet. We're sort of putting our package. They've invited us some things, and we're also considering a sponsor. So we'll figure all that out. But this helps. We'll look at the scheduling and probably do a little divide and conquer if it's conflicting between the team.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the same venue. We'll be upstairs, and I think most of the summit is downstairs. So it's an easy trip.
Yeah, and if you want to participate in the exchange itself, let us know. And Emily can kind of coordinate with you on that.
Thank you. We'll do.
All right. Well, I see it's 2:31. A half hour is pretty good. And if there's, unless there, I mean, we're always open if there's further questions. You have Emily's email. Just let us know. But we're excited about this. We're happy to help, start raising money for you guys. I mean, that's kind of the goal. And how we're ultimately judged, and we're appreciate it. We have JP and others sort of really, people who know how to hustle and make these things happen through whatever tools and tricks you have there, JP.
Perseverance, persistence, stick-to-itiveness, stubbornness, othernesses. Resilience is another word that comes to mind. Yeah. But a good value proposition helps a lot, and a good market opportunity. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great, everyone. I hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. Ciao, Ben.
Thank
Nice to
you.
meet everybody.
Bye.